10 by 15 inch piece of illustration board, which is basically matte board with a Bristol surface. It's great for painting. Yeah, I'm going to put in some drawing lines in here just so I can kind of get an idea. Whoa, that was way off. Okay, there we go. But I'm not going to erase because we're going to cover it with paint anyway. So I'm going to do a spacecraft that is a very military spacecraft. It is called the Monoceros, which is single tusk, if I'm not mistaken, is what it translates out to. I like these Casein paintings because it's a lot like doing the marker drawings, where you can kind of do a scene, you can crank out something fun. And yeah, these are never intended to be like really amazing finished paintings, but they're supposed to be kind of like in that concept art realm. So yeah, the Monoceros is a large military vessel, and it's basically a cylinder that tapers at one end. And it originally was intended to have only implied gravity with a artificial, rotating section, but it gets upgraded. It gets upgraded in its life, and it has artificial gravity, so people can walk around in it the same way they do in cruise ships today, which is, kind of my favorite flavor of science fiction shortcuts. I mean, the reality is you're never going to really be able to do something fancy like anti-gravity plates that let people walk around like they do in Star Trek. Maybe. Who knows? We can never say never, right? But, yeah. For the benefit of what we're working on here, it holds out well. I don't know, I just like the name Monoceros. We'll see. So it's basically like a giant submarine, if you will. And I'm going to see if I can get this in correctly. A tapering cylinder that has a conning tower here. I'm going to get some pencil lines in before we get into the paint part. But yeah, so we're going to make this work. There's a long history of designing spaceships that look like they might just be a standard contemporary submarine. And I don't know what the reason is for that, to be perfectly honest. There's some in old Star Trek. There's some in the Larry Niven universe. Larry Niven / Jerry Pournelle, the Moten God's Eye. A lot of the ships in that series were kind of these military vessels with conning towers. That was a very important aspect to it. So we're going to be going there. If you're looking in your writing to consider an analogy for kind of a military spacecraft, you really can't go wrong by talking to the folks that have been in submarines, because they live exactly the kind of life you would expect from, like, say, a military sci-fi experience. They're closed off from the world. They have to live off of their resources without really ever seeing the light of day. And, they have to work together in very close quarters. And I'm actually kind of fascinated by this, because they do gather, if you will, people who are okay with living like this. So if you ever meet somebody who's been a submariner, whether they're on a boomer or a fast attack boat or any of that, they definitely have a different and really cool demeanor to them. And that's on purpose, because you have to be like stuffed side by side with a whole lot of people you're not used to for months on end. It's they make the most of what they have with what little they have, little space that they have. It's pretty fascinating. Anyhow, so I'm getting kind of this shape together. And let me see where I want to go. There's going to be a lot of fun little details. There's actually, what am I missing on here? I'm probably going to do a lot of like crazy guns and things, but that's important. You got to have that. This is a military spacecraft. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's the goal and plan of this thing. So let's get a little front end going on here. I need to do more drawing. I'm just like flapping my jaws incessantly here, which isn't helping matters at all. But anyhow, let me get some spaces in here where we can get some fun details. and maybe even imply, if you will, imply weaponry and fun things. We have a conning tower on top. This is kind of like where all the command structures are. We're probably going to have a similar structure down below. Maybe this is like the keel thing where there's sensors and radar and all that other good stuff. So maybe we'll put some of that down here. A nice radar dome. And yeah, they do a lot of training. A lot of training and learning about systems and processes. It's unusual not only within the Navy, but in other military circles as well. You end up doing a lot of homework on a submarine. Okay, I'm looking at this now, kind of getting this in. I wanted to have something in between here. There's kind of a drive section. This is where all the engine-y things go on. That's like my technical term, the engine-y things. Das Boot was amazing, the book and the movie. I absolutely adore Das Boot. That was, and considering that it actually was an account of somebody who basically did all of that is really fascinating. So yeah, a modern submarine is a good analogy for probably what people would experience on a ship like this. A patrol vessel, if you will, that hangs out in the outer solar system, mostly, protecting, bases and other fun things and shipping routes and such. Yeah, the Das Boot set was pretty impressive. And I don't know if many of you know, but the miniature submarine, the life-size submarine from Das Boot was used in Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's the same submarine that Indiana Jones took to the island at the end of the movie. That was basically borrowed wholesale from the studio that made Das Boot. Including like the naval base, the German naval base that was at the end of it. All of that was basically sets. So I'm trying to like get some hardware shapes in here for firepower, because this is what this ship is all about. This is a gigantic gunboat, if you will. So there's probably we'll put some missile banks in the side, all the aggressive things you would need to take out a space colony or marauders on your space colony. So yeah, we'll put those on in there too. Yeah, all that good stuff. Okay. And I'm the background's going to kind of just be whatever I come up with. I think it's going to be kind of a space background, light coming in from the top here. Let's see. We'll see how it goes. Das Boot is really cool, but submarine movie for me always comes to mind is The Hunt for Red October. Oh. One ping only, Vasily. Give me a ping. I loved Hunt for Red October. That was great. But yes, Hunt for Red October is one of the best non-Star Trek movies out there. I absolutely adore that movie. I have like my short list of not Star Trek movies that are great Star Trek movies, and that's definitely one of them. One of the other ones is Galaxy Quest and Master and Commander. These are the ones that totally get me. Okay, we're going to put a planet in the background real quick. I feel pretty good with this as a ship design. I'm first going to we have our Casein here. For those of you who haven't followed along, Casein is a great paint. It's a water-based paint. A little bit like gouache, if you will. So yeah, we're going to work with that tonight. I'm going to get out a little dark color here first, just a little Payne's gray. So the first thing I'm going to do is get sort of my dark lines on this so I can paint the background, and then we can work our way forward as we go tonight. Yeah, Titan A was a very cool movie. They and they originally wanted to do more CG work with that movie. It was really at that time when Hollywood wasn't quite comfortable with CG yet, which is really fascinating. But they were working their way towards it. And they had some really cool stuff in there. In fact, I remember I think the only model kit that came out was the Titan AE Aliens by Polar Lights did that when they were kind of at the height of their thing. It was really cool. Did kind of a weird clear blue plastic thing. They didn't do any of the ships though. I was really bummed about that. I think they'd planned on it, but unfortunately, sometimes with movies, merchandising, and such, doesn't go the way you planned. So there we go. Yeah, that wasn't really good. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Bum, 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 bum. We'll have some fun with this. I'm going to try to do a fun ship. I feel like I oftentimes focus a little too much on the backgrounds and not on the hardware. So we're going to change that up a little bit tonight. We're going to spend a little bit of time on the ship and give it a nice, nice treatment, I think. That's going to be fun. So, yeah. Let's see. How's my planet? That's a little off. So let's take a second. I know I'm picking it up here so I can do this. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I just smeared my paint. Yeah, good job, Chris. Yep. Round. And what I'm painting with right now, this color is called Payne's Gray, which in Casein is actually kind of opaque, but if you got this in acrylic, it's actually a semi-transparent paint, so it's an excellent mixer. Like I said, there's these live streams are a little dual purpose for me. Aside from kind of the, hey, it's good to practice, and it's good to practice in front of people, which I love, especially when all of you are so cool and kind of into the stuff I'm painting. That's really nice. And it truly is a good exercise for anyone doing this kind of stuff. I just realized I've been blathering on here for about 45 minutes. I don't think I've taken a breath, have I? Oh my gosh. That's the worst. Okay. Just want to get these lines on in here. Okay, I'm just going to get in my night side, my Terminator zone of the planet, just to kind of get that down in there. There we go. I at least have some lines in. I want to let this paint kind of set up, and I'm going to work on getting some color in the background. We're going to do a lot of blues right now, a lot of blues and purples as usual, so that I can offset it with some warmer colors on the ship. So we're going to try to just drop in. This is our spacey background, and this is in the solar system, so I'm not going to have a lot of crazy nebulosity going on, but we'll have some. We're going to make it kind of fun. So there we go. We'll let a little bit of the background slip in. That's okay too. We'll let it go to a little bit of magenta. Bum, bum, bum. And I have a really fun idea for my. I haven't uploaded to YouTube in a while. I've got some paintings I need to finish editing. I want to do a montage of like every star flicking I have done from the beginning. It might be a half-hour video. I don't know. There. But it does get a little lighter over here. When this dries, this will be a little lighter. We're going to do something with the exhaust. It doesn't really have a jet exhaust out of the back like you'd expect from a rocket like that, but I'll figure something out for it. Okay. Casein dries very weirdly. So a lot of this, once this dries up, will be a little brighter. It does look very dark right now, but that's okay because that sets aside the ship a little bit. Okay, a little bit of my yellows here. We got some Jupiter action going up here. Of course, Jupiter has a lot of like bands of clouds. It's important to get all the little bands in as much as possible. I'm not going to go to a ton of detail on Jupiter, just because it's far away. I just want it to be somewhat recognizable as Jupiter. Okay, this is all going to be in the shadow zone of the planet, so I don't mind darkening this all up a little bit. All right, we're getting Jupiter in here. We're just like rendering the heck out of Jupiter. We'll get this in. What the heck? So I've got kind of a Jupiter back there. It's not great. I'm going to be the first to admit it's not great. But so I got a nice kind of grayed down blue. Yeah, I don't know. Get some blue grays in here. Just getting a little engine effect going back here on the back of this ship, this gigantic ship. Here's where we're at. We've got kind of a fun effect. I try to get like, lights coming from above, so we've got warmer colors on top and then cooler colors below, but our shadow zones aren't so dark that you can actually kind of see some of the details that I had in there. And if you want to know more about the Monoceros and any of the other paintings that I've been working on lately, I'm actually doing a whole bit on my Patreon. There is a science fiction story currently in the works, and I'm just getting the first bits of it posted right now. So if you are so inclined and want to know more, you can learn more about this ship over there. Whoa. No, real. Ah! My brush is working against me today. There we go. So we're going to call out some darks and some lights, and we'll continue. I'm basically going about this the same way I would if I were marker rendering it, but I'm doing it in Casein instead, which is a great opaque medium, like gouache. So it's really good at doing this kind of stuff. Boom. I figure I had all these like crazy, silly ideas hanging out there. And they're oddly being pulled together like gravity from these efforts. So you kind of sometimes you feel like things are being dictated to you from out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm just going to go with it. We're just going to go with it and have some fun. This down here, dark. It's kind of like a missile bay of some kind. I'm just trying to get in some surface detail that's very abstract. This will help sell the idea that this thing is really huge. And I do the same thing down in here too. Get some little bits that aren't like black, but we'll get some of that in here. There we go. Because these things are huge. So yeah, this is actually bigger than a submarine. This would be probably about 300-400 crew. It's a good size. It's a big beast. I'm sure there could be some that contest that. There we go. Yeah, that's what we needed it to do. We're going for cool. I'll accept not bad. So interesting. Yeah, I've heard some that said it wasn't like, fantastic. Oh my gosh. But what's really weird, kind of going back to Top Gun. I mean, my gosh, once that came out, everyone was like, "Oh my God, F-14 Tomcats!" F-14s were really cool planes already. That was really awesome. And I was already a fan of them from movies like The Final Countdown. But Seattle the Museum of Flight actually has a couple of F-14s on hand. You don't realize how big those freaking planes are. They're huge. I'm I was bummed that they like retired them, but I'm like, holy crap! How could you put that thing on an aircraft carrier? They're enormous. No doubt. So I'm very much. I'll take a look at Maverick when it comes out. That's going to be a lot of fun. We can hope. I they're not gonna. It's not going to be terrible. There's no way. There we go. Gonna get some lines in here. Get some hull lines painted in. There's supposed to be like little gun banks in here, but I don't think I've actually done a good job of painting them. We'll see if we can detail them in shortly. We'll see how it goes. Oh, love the F-14s and the Macross saga. Yes! Holy crap. Robotech needs to be made before you die. It might happen, Laser Force. I've heard that Harmony Gold finally settled with Tatsunoko and all that other good stuff, so there was an effort underway to make that work. That was super cool. Macross / Robotech was awesome. Just getting some details in here with my little white paint and brush. Just getting panel lines in here just to make this ship look alive. There we go. And the engine drive section. I'm sure there's like some like really fancy, very dangerous fusion drive in the end of this ship. That's the way I think of it anyway. So yeah. Whoop, sorry. Too much. Too much. There we go. Had to get some detail in there just for good measure. Yeah, I'm just adding greeblies now, but that's okay. It's a good time. Yeah, there's greeblies back in here too. These are like all the little bits of stuff. Greeblies are the technical term for all the garbage that gets stuck into the corners of these ships to make them look like they're very complicated and detailed, because they are. They need to be aggressive looking. There we go. Gonna add some detail to these because they have big giant guns on these ships, right? That's the important part. They're warships. They have lots of gunny things on them and armor. I have no idea what I honestly tonight, folks, I'm sorry, I had no idea what I was gonna do. So I keep saying this. It's not humble bragging. It's just literally like, holy crap, what am I gonna do to paint tonight? And it's fun. I like the process of figuring it out as we go. I get an idea, something fun, and yeah. Okay, now I gotta like add a bunch of like equipment on the top, because this stuff is very important to have like all this kind of cool stuff. So like radars and towers and things like that. Targeting things. Sensors and all that. Little spiky bits off the front. I want to get a few highlights on here, especially out in these places where it's not quite bright white. There we go. Okay. Okay. I'm adding some red lines to it here. I know a lot of folks that have found some of these old models and restored them or brought them back to life. In fact, just this week, my pal Steve Iverson, Cult TV Man, they just released an Aurora model kit of the Metaluna Mutant from This Island Earth. And that's another one of those kits that Aurora had talked about releasing and never did. It existed in myth only, but he actually got it repopped into styrene. It this last week just hit his shop. And This Island Earth, I think, was 1957, if I'm not mistaken, with a very cool alien that looked like he had a brain on the top of his head. I loved seeing that. But yeah, kind of like the Nautilus, there wasn't really a kit of it. Now that's a movie remake you wouldn't mind seeing. I agree. That would be a blast. I love that. I love This Island Earth. It was very cool. The Interocitor. We're communicating with aliens with giant foreheads in mid-century modern homes, which is really half the fun. Okay, I'm trying to get some red stripey bits on here. This is all the stuff where, like, don't go there, right? Let's get some windows in this. We're going to blop in a few. I'm doing them in yellow. We've got habitation areas all over this part of the ship, so I'm going to get some windows in. Love the attention to detail. Yeah, sometimes I kind of get it right. In all fairness, I've drawn this one a lot, so I kind of know where like the major pieces are to it. So yeah, but it's fun. I like painting sci-fi hardware this way. Kind of loose, but in a general direction that I've already kind of established. It's fun. I'm going to add a little orange to this, to some of these windows. And this is my cadmium orange, so it's a nice opaque. And I'm going to see if I can't make it work. We'll see how it goes. There we go. There we go. The Monoceros, a very dangerous space weapon. Okay. I think we've got a fun ship going on here, folks. Alrighty. Here we are. We've got our ship. It's got a planet behind it. We're about to flick some stars onto this one to give it a finish. And I'm actually pretty happy with it. So there we go. We are going in. We're going in for stars. Let me fire it on up. I got to find myself some nice white. I don't mind if it's a little contaminated. Have a little bit of color to it. Going to add some water. I've got my fan brush loaded. Oh yeah. There we go. That was a lot of stars. That was more than I expected. There we go. Yes, indeed. I'm going to come on here and throw this in the bottom corner. Very fun. Thank you all. Seriously. Get a little highlight there on that. And I present to you the Consortium military flagship, the Monoceros. I love Casein. I love painting spaceships in Casein. It is a lot of fun, and I need to do more of it. This is a good time.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Also, catch my weekly stream over on Twitch every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Thank you.